Hello, everyone, and a hearty Merry Christmas Eve to you all. Here is the daily brief recap for December 24th. Probably going to be a really light one here. Not a heck of a lot new to talk about today. But nonetheless, wanted to wish you all a Merry Christmas and I suppose Happy New Year's. We'll be doing that in about 1 week. For whatever it's worth, North American stock markets have already closed. We did our daily brief through that last hour of trading. And we had a great conversation about celestial events, Jupiter, Saturn cross coming up here. Really cool to watch how things like the gold market have acted as we've gone through these pivots. Last summer, we aligned, actually that's next summer, beg your pardon. Where's last summer? There it is. Last summer came close. A lot of chaos in the world. And then through the fall, things sort of calmed down. Here we are. Earth's on the other side of the sun now. But we're getting ready for this swing back on the other side and the ultimate catalyst. This only happens about once every, I think it's like 18 years or something like this. And I really think it's going to wreak havoc. So, a lot of our conversation today was all about get ready for this next 6 months. It's going to be chaos. Your chart deck here. We started off conversation this morning, of course, with risk on, risk off kind of idea. What is happening in the broader market? And you can clearly see gold has just taken off like a rocket here. Where's the chart I like to show? There it is. So we've got, that 1 year anniversary of the meltdown in the stock market. It'll be fascinating to see if the stock market actually tops out exactly on that 1 year anniversary. It's interesting to see the oil keeps pressing higher here. Is this position squaring heading into the end of the year? Tough to say. Oops, let's move that back. Sorry about that. But also at the same time, too, we had a nice little dead cat bounce in good old Bitcoin that sort of fizzled out there halfway through yesterday. And sort of back on the sidelines. And then at the same note, you can see how, of course, gold just took off like a rocket here this morning. And bonds even enjoyed a nice rally. Been sort of talking about how maybe we could get some sort of counter trend rally against this big sell-off here recently in the bond market, especially if stocks are topping out here. And I think the yen's pretty quiet here right now, although I did notice that the chart that I'm following for the futures contracts has some really funny price action down in here. So I'm a little bit sort of not quite sure what the hell's going on with the yen right now. Put it all together for you guys. U.S. dollar index sitting almost exactly the midpoint of its range. Just even the recent price action, stopwatch up top, stopwatch down below, big hurry up and do nothing. We are at a key pivot high there and a key pivot low, so not a big surprise. It almost feels like they want to park this thing right into the end of the year somewhere around here. Levels I'd be watching for here just going forward in the short term, obviously wicks and tails like to be eaten, so there's a bunch of unfinished business up there. There's a juicy gap just below here, and then of course our entire range we're bound in between these. So, is this a trade location? Not really. And I see a lot of the currencies are sort of, British pound sort of shaking its, okay, what the heck do we do now with this new Brexit situation, that kind of stuff. And I didn't really see anything setting up on euro. And like I said, that Japanese yen chart has a real funny price action. So I'm looking at the currencies right now with a little bit of a jaundiced eye. Risk on, risk off. Has oil topped out? This is exactly where it should top. It technically speaking doesn't mean it will, but I do like the idea of the old M top high, this peak. The M top low there, the breakdown low, this peak here. This funny. Remember that Saudi Arabia attack with the drones, and then all of a sudden nothing came of it. Very suspicious. And here we are basically back at those levels. And if you start to look at the the oil market in earnest, I'm again a little bit leery there. So, I suppose, let's see, where is our crude chart? was talking recently with you guys about how we've come up to the underside of this key trend line here. 78.6 into that funny Saudi Arabia drone attack level. There's the original M top. We're above value now. So, just a nice normal seasonal pullback. 50% rule you can actually see is sitting right at this gap, which is the POC. And remember, the old cliche goes, buy your unleaded in the middle of February. So really, I want to be thinking about my new buy window for energy and oil stocks should be somewhere over here. And then on the flip side, so, you've often heard me say that gold and oil have a really hard time moving up in unison. We do have, today, hey, Beamish, the oil's up and the gold's up. What are you talking about? But I think gold really is the big winner here today. And as I sort of showed you on this chart, woohoo! Breakouts all over the map here. And even on the gold itself, this happens to be a weekly price chart. I don't know whether I want to go into that with you guys here. But where did I put that? Well, I guess I did it over here. So why don't we stick to the plan? Just overview, American Barrick, screw you, Newmont. I still want to be the biggest gold stock in the world. I don't know. But as I've sort of said recently, don't like the idea of shorting here. If anything, if you want to short Barrick or names like that, you can see the gap way up here at like $26. So she's working her way back up. And of course, anybody who bought off of the bottom used 50% levels at profit objectives. Here we are, boink, hitting those targets. Newmont, who I think wants their title as the biggest gold stock in the world. We talked about this yesterday. Big breakouts, just violent move higher. And that continued on. But actually, the thing that caught my attention the most, and this is what I was really skeptical of, is the gold and silver stock indexes. They've also powered to new highs here. And specifically for you guys today, there is the gold chart. We sort of talked a little bit about how we don't really like the idea of shorting in here. I don't mind the idea of, hunting longs for leveraged basis trades, but I think actually the money, like the big money, if you will, when I look at gold off of like daily charts, where's that chart I wanted to show you? Fudge. Well, I guess we can use this. I like the idea of the gold market rallying up into previous sort of reload zones. And I'm thinking, maybe like a bit of a stall as sort of crude bottoms there, middle of February. This is usually seasonally the top of the gold market. So I do like the idea of a rally up into here, but keep that sort of 1520, 1525 number in mind. Because what I'm kind of thinking here, and this is, I spent a lot of time in the daily brief talking about this, the sort of correlation between the way that Jupiter-Saturn's acting and Earth's sort of pattern. Because I noticed as we were ramping into this summer here last year, where the hell's that? There, this one. I'll put that away. This was basically through the summer, and there's Jupiter, Saturn. So think of the Earth as kind of like coming around the sun. A little bit of a balance over here with us over on this side. But as we all sort of tilt towards all aligning here, I think it actually has a very significant impact on us human beings. And then I kind of noticed that through the fall, things kind of calmed down. Here we are now, December 24th. Earth has come around the other side of the sun. A little bit of sort of sense of calm. But it feels like we've made some sort of pivot here. And actually, we spent a lot of time in the daily brief today talking a little bit about what does that pivot sort of look like. And I thought it was fascinating that, Earth heading into Jupiter, Saturn, right? Big push higher in the gold. And then through the fall, Earth on the other side of the sun, sort of a balance coming in. And then I also found it fascinating that, as we sort of pivot around the sun, we're coming around the other side. And oh boy, this is looking very trend continuation-y. And I thought it was fascinating. We talked about this in the meeting, just about a half an hour ago in the Daily Brief, how, gee whiz, what a coincidence. Here is basically the Fed saying, we're throwing a wet blanket on the market. We want to cool things down. All right, we've cooled things down. Everything's fine. And then all of a sudden they come out in the past week or two and say, all right, we are now officially on the sidelines. Don't worry about credit. Go and have a party. And I think the gold market is seeing that. Right? And again, remember I had said earlier, keep an eye on this 1520, 1525 area. Because what I think has to happen here is we sort of go and then woohoo! So I'm going to be watching for sort of higher time frame, those weekly breakouts, like Newmont just surging to new highs here. Barrick saying, screw you, I'm a bull too. I don't know whether I really think the biggest bang for your buck is in the gold price. I mean, here this is going to be like, what, $25, $30 rally. And even through that big celestial event, I mean, even here, 15.25 up to 17.5. We're talking like $250 or so, somewhere in that area. Or, nice 10-15%, somewhere in that area. Maybe even higher than that, 15-20% kind of idea. But I actually think where the money to be made is of course, in the gold stocks. And, you saw Newmont and Barrick. They're looking very, very uppy. So, actually, through the Daily Brief, and this is sort of the thing I wanted to comment with you guys here today. I've talked lots about stocks that I'm buying into tax loss selling. So, I've beat that drum. You guys know all the stocks I'm trying to get in on. Still can't get filled on, there's one stock that just looks absolutely incredible. And they come out and they said, oh, yeah, this thing's going to grow to the moon. And I'm like, shut up. I'm still working my bids. I haven't got filled yet. So, but I won't go down there. You guys know, lots of stock I'm buying. But what I wanted to mention to you guys was, okay, if I wanted to play this move in gold, what's an interesting way to play it? And here's two sort of ways you can play the gold move through ETFs, right? So this is the basically the basket of gold stocks. And then this is sort of the higher leverage junior gold market. I think that's how the logic works here. But, it's interesting. We could see maybe 15-20% on the gold price. Here, if we break out, you can see that's about $8 or so, or that's like a nice 30-40% return. Ooh, that's sounding sexy. And then on the really junior names, and, we talked about through the Daily Brief today, really, really good example of what we call a LJ setup or RJ, depending on when you were on the site. But let the trend lines be broken. And then just take your first W that comes in on the other side of the trend line. And both of these, just beautiful breakouts here. So I don't know whether I'm really a big fan of chasing. I do like front running the bot. I would prefer to get in off of this double bottom. If you do get the opportunity over the next week or two, especially if there's any sort of weak tax loss selling into Friday being the last day that people can do it, I'd take a real good look at some gold names. I mean, there's some junior gold stocks. Oh my God, they look fabulous. They're just giving them away. And of course, I am accumulating. Now, as an analogy of not chasing, I think it's a good idea. Like I've got my little Alio on the books. I don't think you can buy this stock now, so be careful, everyone. This is that's the U.S. stock. I mean, I'm in Canada. It doesn't really matter if you look at it Canada or U.S. But yeah, great to see we surged to new highs, hit a big fat round number, $1. Woohoo, great. But can you go and buy this here? No. If you do want to get in on this, you got to work bids down below. So that's sort of what I talked about with those bullish bots. You can't go and chase here, but I put out a tweet earlier this morning, and if you are watching this video and you don't know about the Twitter feed, you might as well strap on the follow, because a lot of stuff that I talk about here on the videos, I tweet out images and comments. So in essence, what I've just said is, yeah, pullbacks are definitely buying opportunities for me now in this space. So There's a nice little Christmas gift. Do your own due diligence. I'm not telling you what to buy. I'll tell you what I'm buying, but I'm not going to tell you what to buy. Caveat emptor. I gotta say, gold space looking really interesting in here. We'll leave off with just a quick comment, and if anything, this is almost funny because it's a juxtaposition. But hopefully everybody can see there's another gold proxy that, gee whiz, what a surprise, it's bottoming. Again, you can't really chase it, but here's gold in Bitcoin prices. This is the kind of thing that would just, drive, the Bitcoin maximalists and all that kind of stuff crazy. But, Peter Schiff kind of people, they love this. But again, I don't think it's a good idea, if you're sitting on some Bitcoins and you're like, well, maybe I'll go pick up some gold, right? I might wait for some sort of pullback against the original bottom, fill in some gaps here. But you can see she's got a head of steam on her. And, this is an excellent testament. Please learn this, people. Reload zones, W's, right? I mean, it's the same poop, just different pile. And what's really sick is, if you were like looking at this going, man, I wish I had gotten in off of that original bottom. Look, all they did was they just brought the market right back to that level. And you could even argue that's a reload zone within a reload zone down in there. But can we buy this now? Kind of like that Alio? You're a little bit late. But, like I said earlier, I do believe pullbacks are buying opportunities. Little disappointed in the corn. I'll say it. I was, of course, through the daily brief, we go into great detail on all of these charts. Was really interested in seeing some movement up into 38.2s. Test of original highs, but we kind of talked about this over the broiler chicken show. No. So they brought the market right up into all of these previous highs, and whoever put the top in here said, no, get your ass out of there. So, I think I even mentioned yesterday, I was working a bullish setup off of this double bottom, and as the market was moving up, I was feeling pretty good. And, TRI OGers, because, man, we built some fucking kick-ass traders here. They were like, I don't know, Brian. I'm stepping in on the short side on this son of a gun. And, of course, you notice reload zones, candle body high, 78.6s. Oh, my goodness, all you shorters. You sons of bitches. But, it's just the way trading goes. So I don't fault anybody who looked at that and said, well, Brian, I got to step in on the short side there. I have no choice. So hats off to you, anybody hit that. As I said, I took a little long off of this consolidation breakout. And the good part about what I do is I like to trade setups that have a whole bunch of rules and stuff built in. Try to help me manage my anxiety in this space, because keep in mind trading, and actually we had a great report. Big shout out to one of our site OGs. He's completed the entire education program with us. He is a teacher's assistant in our level 1 program. He does fantastic work. Murat reported today that actually he's passed his initial combine test at Top Step, and he's now moved on to sort of pre-funded status over at Top Step. And it's just a great commentary that we just build awesome traders. And I'm not quite sure where I was going with all that. But anyway, I wanted to give a shout out to Murat. I was so proud and so pleased with the hard work. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. He's noticed that when you transition from, paper trading crypto, having fun, blah, 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 no real repercussions, to going to like a pro prop firm where, hey, you've got to make money here and that account balance has got to go up or get the fuck out of here. Excuse my French. Merry Christmas. One of the reasons why, his feedback today was, wow, it sure is different when you're managing real money. Holy moly, high octane. And he's noticed that, man, I really see, sort of a lot of the value in sort of building these rules and these setups pre-vetted, because when you actually have to come and pull the trigger for a $10,000, $20,000 trade, you got to be able to act with no anxiety at all and no emotion. And so it's great. He gave us a great report today about that kind of thing earlier today when we were chatting with him. But what I'm trying to get to here is one of the reasons why I work with setups is to try and help deal with that anxiety. And you don't think, you just act. And, I think also too, and I've been giving this a lot of thought, also too, this is a function of personality type. So I am the type of personality that responds very well to pre-vetted setups, and I like everything very structured and dependable and reliable. That is a very personal thing. Some people, they can operate off the fly, but that doesn't really work well with me. So point I'm trying to make here is, like I said, I did have W's come in, and I even tweeted out, God, I love W's. If I don't take this, I'm an idiot. So I bought, and like I said, I've got setups that have pre-vetted rules, so what ends up happening is the different levels are hit with my ultimate objective. Like I said, I was thinking that we were going to get that 38.2 tag, bought setups, target objectives 8100, but I have a system that says that if we move along a certain path, then I have to force myself to act and do things like try and prevent a winning trade to turn into a losing trade, because that's extremely mentally difficult on a trader. So here's a good example where I had a trade that was working in my favor and things were rocking and rolling. I have rules built into my trading plan that say that I can move stop to scratch, and it's a little bit more advanced, but I actually like to what I call front run this setup, where I'm going to trade these levels, but I actually try to sneak in ahead of the trade. So then that way, my move stop to scratch level, if it's hit and the market just dumps, well, that's that 25 level move stop to scratch. And in essence, because I bought down here, I actually book a small profit on the trade. But we were working away, market was working higher, and all of a sudden you can see this higher high here painted massive divergences in momentum, and all hell broke loose. And so basically I was politely told, exit the position. And so right now I don't have a position. I'm just sitting here watching. As I said, I took my shot off of this W. Didn't play out, no big deal. Next bus in 10 minutes. And how can I do this with a relatively calm demeanor? Not really get too stressed over it. I've got a plan. All I'm doing is I'm just following my plan. And really the way that I actually judge whether I'm a good trader or a bad trader is really how well can I follow the plan that I said that I was going to do. If I can't follow the plan, I FOMO, I panic, I don't enter trades at levels that are appropriate, then that's a whole problem unto itself. And of course, we at TRI, we have a whole bunch of tools and methodology to try and identify and help you work with those problems. But ironically enough, most of the difficulty in being a quote-unquote professional trader is actually getting over that, can I actually do what I say I'm going to do? And you'd be surprised how many people can't. So, long and short of all this, I'm on the sidelines. My plan told me to hop, so I don't really have an opinion on Bitcoin right at the moment. And I'm getting a lot of choppy action here. I'm going to have to politely just let this set up and wait for the next bus, as they say. Okay, so, hopefully you've gotten a little bit of value out of this conversation today. Like I said, a little disappointed to see the corn crapping out here. It is what it is. I do like what I'm seeing in the gold market heading into early 2020, and I also actually really like this sort of fundamental, rational thinking. Fed's on the sidelines, credit bubble can increase. I like the political instability in the background, and I love this big celestial event that I actually see. Well, you can't really put your finger on it. I definitely can see the effects of in our society around these. We had an opposition event in 2000, perfect euphoric atmosphere. Everybody thought, it was all peaches and cream. And I think that this summer we're coming into an absolute chaos, panic, freak out, opposite side of that spectrum. And unfortunately that, assets like gold often do well into those kind of events. And I can see the writings on the walls that they're sort of getting the market ready for it. So do with that information as you please. Have yourselves a great Christmas holiday. Of course, I'm going to be super busy with the boy tomorrow morning, trying to give him the best Christmas I possibly can. So we're not going to be doing daily briefs or daily brief recaps. And I think we'll be back to work in earnest probably Monday the 30th. Thursday, Friday might be a bit splotchy here. So, okay, guys, have yourselves a great day. I hope you got some good value out of all that information. All the best. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. And bye for now.